welcome here at Professor Herman Manyora's channel. My name is Simon Irungu and this is the big question. So today's conversation is going to be on the political parties that are being formed towards the election, Professor. And the newest political party that has been formed towards the election is the DAP. What do you have to say about this political party led by Wafula Wamunyinyi?
Yeah, this is part of the political game. On the chessboard, political chessboard, somebody has reckoned and realized that the blunder made by Ruto of saying that if you want to work with him, come to UDA, National Party. He will not accept these parties. And people like Moses Kuria were told off. That was a blunder. That he doesn't want what he calls tribal parties. He doesn't want tribal kingpins. The moment the other side realized that blunder, they quickly moved to exploit it. And that's how you must understand the formation of these smaller parties that then are friendly within regions, smaller places where they call home. So that you have them and you use them in places where, for example, ODM was not going to be well received.
Okay. Already people are saying that this political party is aimed to counter-check the influence of Wetangula and Mudavadi in the western region. Is it true?
Of course. You know, if you are Raila and Uhuru, you know that Mudavadi and Wetangula are going to get some of the votes from Western Kenya. What do? You go on the chessboard, on the drawing board, you look at issues, you look how it's moving, you say, well, if we got DAPK and got the governor of Bungoma to run on that ticket and becomes the father figure of the county, we got people like Wafula Wamunyinyi then running on that ticket, then you quickly figure out a majority of the MPs and the MCS from Bungoma and Trans Nzoia will be on DAPK. You will have clipped the wings of this guy called Wetangula. And the same is true of Mudavadi, especially within Kakamega County.
Might they be able to have as much numbers as they are expecting?
In politics, you want 100%. You rarely get 100%. So they will not get what they want, but they will get substantive numbers. Numbers which maybe they would not have gotten if they didn't use that strategy of DAPK in Western Kenya.
And we really need this many political parties?
You know, it is the political ecosystem we are working in, and that dictates that things work in a certain way. So for today, this is how things are working.
Okay.
In another 10, 15 years, 5 years, things will be different. Maybe it will just be two parties. We have been there before, where it was just two parties. But now it looks like even Parliament is going to be a rainbow of colors, of parties. For the first time. And the Parliament is going to be really forceful, because no individual is going to have controlling numbers in Parliament.
So how is it going to be looking next year in Parliament?
Parliament, the president will have a bigger staff. The president will have a tough time. I sympathize with Raila. He's been fighting hard to be president. He will become president. If he becomes president, then he will realize he can't enjoy that president, because the judiciary has been putting Uhuru on his toes. Now Parliament is going to be worse than the judiciary.
Okay.
Because no party will have controlling numbers in Parliament, the way things are going. You see, it's like you create a monster and it eats you. So Raila is creating these small parties. But he's also increasing the independence of the 2022 Parliament. It will come also to eat him also.
Okay.
So if I were Raila right now, what I will be doing more than anything else will be looking where I can win.
Okay, is it advantageous to have this many political parties in Parliament?
Of course, from where I sit and where you sit, you know that's good.
Okay.
Because then it will mean, for the first time, we don't receive telephone calls from State House directing Parliament how to do things. That will be in the interest of Mwananchi.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
But from the point of view of government and of Raila or Ruto, whoever becomes president, it's going to be so hard for them, because the presidents in this country are not used to that checking from Parliament and the judiciary.
Okay.
You can see the judiciary just starts a bit and Uhuru is in problems. You can imagine how much more assertive the judiciary is going to be after Uhuru is out, because Uhuru is an institution. Now a new person comes in, judiciary will be so assertive, the president will be in problems. On top of the judiciary, now we're going to have a tough Parliament. That's what I was saying before you asked me this. If I am Raila Odinga, there's one thing I'll be doing this Christmas. To figure out how I can get MPs. The traditional way of saying, for example, in Westlands, Fred Gumo is my friend. Therefore, his son Mike must run against Harvey. Then Harvey whitewashes him. They must move from that. I'm not saying that because one day I said I want to run in Westlands. I'm looking at Langata. You want to look at Sifuna, for example. You need a Sifuna in parliament. So you say, Sifuna, look here. Go to Langata. Not Jalango. Jalango is a good man, is my friend. But you are going to have a lot of war in parliament. Why if you are, because I know how Ruto is going to do. It's Ruto who is going to have the tough MPs in parliament.
Okay.
He may not have the numbers. He will have more MPs than Raila. That you can take to the bank. So what Raila needs to do is to try and match Ruto's numbers in parliament. But much more importantly, to spend this Christmas figuring out how he will get tough people into parliament. If you have 10 Sifunas in parliament, you can relax.
So for a common mwananchi like you and I,
yes,
it's a good thing to have these many political
it's a good thing
parties,
for the
but
mwananchi.
it's hectic for the people in
Hectic
power.
for the president. Raila may not, at the end of the day, if he becomes president, enjoy the presidency he has been fighting for all his life. He will even get annoyed. Because everything will be checked. Everything will be stopped by the courts. Every legislation that he needs to move forward will be checked by parliament.
Okay, so Professor, during the launch of this political party, we saw Eugene Wamalwa.
Yes.
And we cannot ignore this presence. He's a statesperson.
Yes.
Maybe, is this a state project?
I choose, and I've said this repeated, I choose not to see it as a state project. I choose to see it as a strategy. If Ruto chooses to see this as a tribal move, good for him.
Okay.
If he chooses to see this as a state project, good for him. But when he will be hit, that's the time he will know he should have seen this as a strategy. Okay. Not as a state project, not as a tribal thing on that account.
What about the other political parties like Ford Kenya? Are they going to become smaller? Are they going to crumble to the ground?
All parties will shrink because of this game. Azimio la Umoja movement is going to weaken even ODM. It's like you say that something must die for another thing to be born.
Okay.
You know, for a seed to germinate, it must die. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, Raila cannot rip from the umbrella movement while at the same time keeping ODM strong. He can't have his cake and eat it. You get it?
Okay.
So he will have to sacrifice ODM.
Yeah.
And already there's a law in parliament. And actual parliament is working on it as we speak. To make these movements or coalitions have the status of political parties for the purpose of filling presidential candidates. So naturally all parties will go down.
So should the founders and the members of the other political parties, the former political parties, maybe should they join other political parties or should they come up with new political parties?
It will depend. You read the situation. You look at the times, you look at your region, you look at what is practical, what is pragmatic, and you make a move. Because at the end of the day, I can tell you, the only big party will be UDA.
Okay, so for UDA, is it something positive what they are doing, refusing for other people to join with their political parties other than joining UDA? Should they maybe be like Azimio la Umoja where they accommodate other political parties? Is it going to be a plus for Ruto?
It will be too late because they have already said they don't want. The time remaining, they cannot change that. And then there are certain laws are going to kick in very soon. So it will be very difficult for Ruto to turn around. Like the moment he invited Musalia Mudavadi and Wetangula when he was in Western Kenya, people are already asking how. Because it's almost getting too late. And that change of tactic won't quite come out very well. So he has to live with this idea. And the only hope that he doesn't lose Mount Kenya in terms of MPs, that UDA doesn't become a challenging party the way I fear.
Okay.
If he can manage to maintain his hold on the mountain, then UDA will be the biggest party.
So is there a chance maybe UDA might be a Kalenjin political party?
Very serious. These small parties, you see Mwangi wa Erias, Usawa party. Mwangi Kunjuri's service part of Kenya, TSP. Mada Karua's na Kenya. Moses Kuria's Chama cha Kazi. And you can go on. Bass of Mkiraitu Murungi. Justin Muturi with the DP. And so on and so forth. These are the ones that are going to reap. The narrative already being sold around the mountain is that let us vote for Ruto. But we cannot lose our identity and go to UDA. That narrative is a powerful narrative, and it will pick. So first of all, it will not be about voting for Ruto. It will be about our political parties. The moment it has picked strongly, then the next thing will be to deny Ruto the votes. But initially, it will just be about having our parties for identity purposes, even as we remain with Ruto in terms of the presidential vote. For that reason, a lot of the people now in UDA will not win.
So
there might, the mountain.
Okay, so there might be a resistance from these political parties that
yes.
want to run independent.
Yes.
So
Moses Kuri has put it very well. Even Mwangi Kiunjuri has put it very well. People like Mwangi area are even more stubborn. They want to cause more trouble. They are even talking of running for presidency. People like Afogo have their own parties. These are the parties that will get MPs and MCS from the mountain region. And the Ruto may get the vote.
Okay.
But not MPs and MCS.
Now that's where the problem will come for him when he doesn't have MPs on his side.
Yeah, so it will just be like Raila. Raila won't have enough MPs, and I also see when Ruto winning, he may also not have many MPs. So whoever becomes president next year, the nightmare will come from parliament. And those who are listening to me, go and tell those people.
So it's not going to be an easy
road. They have
road.
to listen to me. If I'm Raila today, Nairobi has 17 seats. I will target 10.
Okay.
And make sure I get.
Okay.
But they must do what is done in developed countries. What is done in Australia, in Europe, wherever. Where they look at somebody like you, Simon. So this young man is good. They come and scout you, tell you, go and stand in Kamkunji.
And they support you.
Yes. But if political parties continue chronism, supporting so-and-so because he supports the party.
Yeah.
Supporting so-and-so because his father was this and this. Supporting so-and-so because he has been with the party. They will cry in the toilet, I think.
Okay. Professor, we're coming to the end of the show. Thank you very much for coming through.
Thank you, Simon.
Okay, so thank you very much, guys, for joining us here at Professor Herman Manyora's channel. My name is Simon Irungu, and for those who have not subscribed, please make sure you do so. Thank you very much.